Alright guys, so in this video we'll be looking at the difference between physical and chemical changes. Alright, so this is very, very important, especially in a typical chemistry test. We'll begin with the definitions of both of them, then we'll move into the examples of both of them. So what exactly is physical change? By the way, this is a subtopic under a main topic in chemistry called the nature of matter. So we'll start off with the definitions of both of them. A physical change is the kind of change that can be reversed, alright? So you can reverse a physical change, but no new substance is formed. So nothing new is formed. As a physical change, it's a change that can be reversed, but nothing new is formed. Then the chemical change is the exact opposite of a physical change. A chemical change, if a physical change can be reversed, then a chemical change is the one that cannot be reversed, That's a chemical change. It cannot be reversed. And for a physical change, we said nothing new is formed, but for a chemical change, something new is formed. Something new is formed. So you can say chemical change is a kind of change that cannot be reversed and in which something new is formed. Now, moving on to the examples of physical and chemical changes, which is something you should highly anticipate in a typical chemistry test. Now, you think of those changes. We'll begin with the physical change now. Think of those changes that you can reverse and in which nothing new is formed. Examples of this sort of changes are the melting of solids. Let's say you take ice out of your refrigerator, you melt it to liquid. You can easily take back that liquid to your freezer and it goes back to solid. So it means you could reverse it and nothing new was formed. So the melting of solids, that's one of them. Then other examples of, physical changes, we can say the freezing of what? The freezing of liquid. Because if you do freeze liquid, what happens is that the liquid changes, of course, to solid. And when you take that, solid out of your freezer, in this case, in the form of ice, it can easily revert to the liquid form when you put it at room temperature. So that's it. Other examples of physical changes, we have the dissolution of salt in water. So when you dissolve salt, the solution of salt in water. So when you do that, you can easily recover your salt back from water by evaporation. So when you evaporate, you apply heat. What happens is that the liquid evaporates, leaving behind the solid, which is the salt. So dissolution of salt. Other examples of physical changes, we have the separation of mixtures. Separation of mixtures is another example of a physical change. Separation of mixtures. So that's it, because those things can be reversed. They can reverse back and forth and all that stuff. So other examples of physical change, we have the magnetization of iron rods. Magnetization of iron rods. So I will stop here for the examples of physical changes. So make sure you commit them to memory. We started off by talking about the melting, freezing, dissoluting salt in water, separation of mixtures, magnetization of iron rods. Now we're going to move on to chemical changes. We said chemical changes cannot be reversed. So it means once you've done them, the process is permanent. It can go back. And something new is formed. Think of those things. Think of such examples. Of course, I can give you an example like the burning of burning of paper, burning of paper or firewood. So when you burn paper, what happens? It turns to ashes. And when you burn firewood, it turns to charcoal, which is the incomplete combustion. And finally, it turns to ashes, which is the complete combustion. So you cannot reverse it to the previous state, which was paper or firewood. And something new is formed, which is the ashes or the charcoal, whatever the case may be. Now, other examples of chemical changes, we have the rusting of iron. So, by the way, in chemistry, we call rusting corrosion. So that is it. Corrosion means the rusting of iron. That's what corrosion means. And another key word you have to be chary of is combustion. Combustion in chemistry means burning. And rusting in chemistry means corrosion. Now, when iron rusts, what happens is that it turns to a brown iron 3 plus. So the new iron is iron 2 plus. And then when it rusts, it turns to iron 3 plus. So when it does rust, you cannot convert it back to the previous state, which was a new iron. So, and something new is being formed, which is the newly the corroded iron, which is iron 3 plus. So it becomes rust. Now, other examples of chemical changes, we have the addition of water to quicklime to form slaked-lime. So this is quicklime. It's called calcium oxide. When you add water to it, it forms a compound called slaked-lime, and this is the formula for slaked-lime. So this is quicklime, this is slaked-lime. And the process of converting quicklime to slaked-lime, please take note of it, is called slaking. Alright, so this is very, very highly anticipated in a typical chemistry test. And this process cannot be reversed. So that is it. That is it. All those changes. By the way, these are just limited examples as far as the vast examples are concerned. But these are the main and most common examples you would see in a typical chemistry test, so commit them to memory. So with that being said, we've come to the end of the video. I believe you learned something today, and I urge you to help share this video with your friends who may find it helpful as well. And do not forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't, so you can see a new video whenever we do upload one. Thanks for watching and have a good one.